a way out of Harran.
Crane, we're running out of antizin. We have to explore every possibility. We can't wait any longer.
Dying Light: The following is the expansion for Dying Light, the open-world zombie survival game released in 2004, developed by Techland, the crew of people who have a serious hard-on for westerns and games that let you chop zombies to pieces. As a sort of spin-off to the events in the original game, it takes place in the countryside of Harran, with some new enemy types, and a new storyline which vaguely feeds into the original campaign.
I'll tell you no more than he.
Fucking hell, why won't anybody help me? The virus is all over the city, people are dying.
However, if you weren't a huge fan of Dying Light, then there's not really going to be anything in the following likely to convert you. In a few ways, it's also lost a lot of what made it unique, but the biggest question on everyone's lips is it worth our hard-earned dough? Well, Sunny Jims, let's find out. Playing again as Kyle Crane, voiced by the guy they had to settle with because Troy Baker was busy, you're sent to the countryside of Harran to investigate a group called the Children of the Sun. Before the group will make contact with you, however, you firstly have to gain the support of the locals, which involves completing lots of menial side missions as well as assisting various survivors you come across in the game world. You soon begin to learn about a mysterious deity named the Mother as you delve into the secrets behind the Children of the Sun. The countryside looks a lot different to the city of Harran, though the game still overdoes the effects like chromatic aberration and motion blur. Thankfully, due to the game being out for almost over a year now, it is at least well optimized and runs smooth as butter, mostly anyway. Another thing both games do phenomenally well is portray nighttime. Most games during nighttime you can still see as far as the draw distance allows, but nighttime in Dying Light is much more realistic, only allowing you to see mere feet ahead of you. It's suspenseful and atmospheric, and the increased benefit of extra experience for venturing out during the dark makes it all the more enjoyable. Dying Light again uses a skill point system where you can earn experience points for various actions you complete in the game, upgrading one of 3 skill trees in the process. If you've already got an existing save file, you can hop right into the expansion with your current level, making things a lot easier. New players, however, might find it a little bit tougher. Again, combat is largely broken down into melee or ranged, with a heavy focus on melee against zombies and ranged weapons against human opponents. You've got a few new ranged weapons this time around, the most notable being a crossbow, which, though slow to reload, can kill even the tougher enemies with a well-placed headshot. But the real meat of the combat is the melee system, something that's been included in Techland games since Dead Island, and something that's never really been improved upon. You can still craft a bunch of weapons from machetes, katanas, hammers and so forth, and acquiring new recipes will make combat a hell of a lot easier. A well-crafted weapon can mean the difference from it taking 6 hits to kill a zombie down to 1 or 2. This also does come down to luck as well, in the sense that you get lucky finding better weapons when looting. Having said that though, it's still just largely a matter of mashing the left mouse button on a zombie's head, following a few on-screen key prompts during certain moments and just hoping you don't get swarmed. I still find the combat to be inconsistent at times, like how just because your crosshair is on an enemy's head doesn't mean it's going to be a headshot. Yeah, makes sense, right? And fighting other human enemies with a melee weapon is so goddamn awful that it's easier to just whip out a machine gun and blow them away. I really hate those fast zombies that are able to dodge your attacks like they're trained in fucking Wing Chun or something. They're the most annoying assholes in any game I've played in recent years. But it is gloriously gratuitous stuff, and watching a zombie get split into 2 with a well-placed blow is very satisfying. Ammo, items, and practically every other useful component you might need can again be crafted, and almost everything you come across has a purpose. The expansion's biggest addition is the fully customizable buggy as a drivable vehicle. Not that this is entirely earth-shattering, I mean we've had vehicles in video games now for what, like 2 decades? Anyway, this thing is your primary mode of transportation, and again there's no fast travel points, so you can expect to spend the majority of your time driving back and forth to your objectives. I guess Techland spent a bit of time playing Mad Max because the buggy is kind of like the magnum opus, serving as a mandatory means of transportation and something you'll slowly improve as the game goes on. Now this ties into what I said at the beginning of the video, how the whole free running mechanic is very much non-existent in the following, and the reason for this is that 90% of navigation is done with the buggy. Furthermore, it's got its own skill tree, and putting points into it is absolutely essential. You can earn experience by driving around and completing racing challenges, or just by driving into other zombies. In fact, the fastest way to level up is just to drive around an open field at night time, earning double XP as you mow down everything you see. This is pretty fun, watching zombies get turned into paste when you hit them, but it does get old pretty quickly, and it'll cause your car to break down faster than shit through a goose. When you first get the buggy, it handles like complete dog shit. It has a low speed and it slides all over the place. After you upgrade it a couple of times, the speed and durability is greatly increased, meaning the car is a lot more effective. Aside from improving the suspension, the brakes, traction, engine and turbo up to 5 times each, you can also equip the car with 2 upgrades, including an electrical charge that knocks zombies back, UV headlights, and also the ability to drop landmines. However, even when you've upgraded it extensively, the faster zombie types like the volatiles and the virals are still able to catch up to you with ease and smack you around from behind, which is extremely annoying and often throws your steering around. Repairing and maintaining the buggy is also done with screws and other items like lubricant and rubber hoses, which you can buy from vendors or salvage from other broken down cars. And on top of that, you've also got to keep it stocked up on fuel. Now look, I'm not gonna lie, driving the car around is really fun once you've upgraded it, but it's still essentially the same thing as running around by foot. Only now, instead of 5 to 10 minute segments of running on rooftops, it's 5 to 10 minute segments of driving down roads. You'll be stopping to fix the buggy constantly as well, and I think if cars broke down this quickly in real life, you'd need to be a millionaire to drive them. There's no GPS system like we've got in other games like Far Cry 4 or Watch Dogs, so finding the route to your destination can also be tricky sometimes. My experience with this expansion had me either shouting at the top of my lungs in frustration or losing track of time due to immersion. Aside from a bit of teething early on as I had to come to grips with all of the controls again, I mostly had a good time with the following, and this is coming from someone who utterly loathed the first game. Maybe I'm turning into a softie, or maybe it's because I went into the expansion at level 16 and had a buttload of items and weapons from the get-go. Either way, if you want to check the following out, that's fine, but don't expect it to do anything differently or better than Dying Light. There's about 8 hours worth of game time for the campaign alone, and the choice of 2 endings for replayability. It's no Reuben sandwich, but for the price tag and the amount of content on offer, there are definitely worse ways to spend your dough.